Fans running out onto the field mid-game, it can be pretty entertaining.
Here we go. Oh, yeah.
There he is. There he is. Yes.
Oh, yes.
That's what we're talking about. Wagner.
Running onto a field, more often than not, it plays out exactly how you'd expect. So today, let's take a look back at 10 of the most memorable times an unwelcomed guest met their maker when they tried to run onto the field during an NFL game. First up, we have an all-timer that dates way back to 1971 during a game between the Baltimore Colts and the Miami Dolphins. A visibly drunk fan ran down onto the field and grabbed the ball, then tried to make a dash for it, all while grinning ear to ear with excitement. So much so that even as Mike Curtis absolutely leveled him, the smile was stretched wide across his face. Hey, pour me a cup, whatever this guy was drinking. Though, actually, on second thought, between the hangover, missing the rest of the game, and, well, the body aches from that massive hit, have to think that he might have had some regrets when he finally came to. This isn't the only ball thievery we've seen end with the intruder getting blown up on the field. Let's fast forward a few decades to 2005 for a Halloween matchup between Brett Favre and his Green Bay Packers against the Cincinnati Bengals. Green Bay was trailing by a touchdown and had the ball near the Bengals' 30-yard line with just 30 seconds left. Needing a score, the Packers were keyed in on the end zone, and they looked dismayed when the officials whistled the play dead just as Favre dropped back to pass. And, well, then the rest is history. The fan took the ball straight out of Favre's hands and began simultaneously making a break for it and celebrating the snag. And hey, to the fan's credit, he actually put a couple of impressive moves on display. But that all came to a crashing halt when one security guard squared him up, frankly, with immaculate form. Honestly, I'm a little surprised he didn't get floated a contract after that hit. Once the action resumed, the Bengals locked back in and got the stop they needed to win, which, according to then head coach Marvin Lewis, was at least due in part to their fans' contribution. When he was asked after the game if the intrusion broke his team's concentration, Lewis said, "I think it broke theirs. That's good. We'll slip him $20 later." Yeah, that's how you know this was a while ago. Coaches don't dream of talking in about fans running onto the field and just like that nowadays. Not in an NFL press conference, at least. Either way, the intruder certainly got his comeuppance. He was lit up on the national stage and was taken out of the stadium by the police. Although, I doubt his charges were anywhere near as serious as the one Favre himself now stands to face for his alleged thievery. But, that's a story for another day. This isn't the only incident we've seen take place during a Packers game. We also saw a fan foolishly try to get in the middle of the action during a play when Green Bay was playing the Carolina Panthers. And in this instance, it wasn't even a player or security intentionally trying to wrangle the rogue spectator. The fan just got too close to the sun and, well, he got burned. I mean, look at this contact. Golly. This may have been one of the most vicious hits I've seen on a football field altogether. Fan running on the field or not, you can see it on his face as he's being dragged off the field that he hardly even knows where he's at. I don't know what it is about Packers games, but they just seem to get the fans riled up into a frenzy. In 2012, during a divisional matchup with the Detroit Lions on New Year's Day, yet another fan got ahead of themselves and ran out onto the field, only to be damn near put through the ground by Green Bay's linebacker Brad Jones. I mean, if Jones's agent didn't get a call from Vince McMahon after that, well, I'd be shocked. An impromptu German suplex, and then to add insult to injury, Jones taunted the fallen fan by imitating the arms out twirl he did when he initially ran out onto the field. That right there is a level of showmanship that would make Shawn Michaels blush. And then security took over, and just like that, the show was over. Another rogue fan intruding on the action, only to be borderline decimated by the end of the encounter. I guess that should show fans, aka regular earthly humans, not to enter the domain of professional athletes and expect to get out in one piece. Although, as we've seen, it isn't always just the pro athletes getting the best of these intruders. In fact, according to Kevin Harlan, who oh so smoothly narrated this instance of an intruder getting railroaded, the security may have been hitting harder than the Jets' defense that night.
Best person I would want to run into is a New Jersey State Trooper.
Did you see
Just
that
like
tackle?
that?
Which, considering the 31-point beatdown New York had to swallow, may be a fair assessment. Especially after you see the way that the intruders get blown up. To be honest, this was a personal favorite of mine. The sequencing of the entire ordeal is hilarious. The way the two runners' paths look like they're deep crossing routes, and they get picked off one after another, is just so smooth that it almost looks like it was choreographed. draft. I bet the then Jets head coach Todd Bowles was legitimately considering subbing those two security guards into the blowout to see how they fared in live action.
Oh, and the other guy's knocked down. They're actually hitting harder than the Jets defense.
I know that the Jets fans watching that laughable effort from their team were wishing that Bowles would have trotted them out there. Next up, we have one of the most recent spectator intrusion odysseys when future Hall of Fame linebacker Bobby Wagner decided to go full-on vigilante mode like Bruce Wayne in his prime and take down the transgressor. Now, I used my words carefully there. Transgressor, because I don't know that this Maine was even a fan at all, but rather an animal rights protester that was just after the spotlight. At least that's what I've inferred from the bright pink shirt and the Joker-esque can of pink smokescreen he was blasting off while running wild on the field. And, well, let's just say it doesn't look like Bobby Wagner was none too pleased with the theatrics, particularly as it dragged on because security couldn't catch up, and the All-Pro leapt into action.
With the fan, then in the half.
I just saw somebody running on the field, and he looked like he wasn't supposed to be on the field. So I saw security was having a little problem, so I helped him out.
Not only did Wagner get a clean shot off on him, but the runner was also knocked off balance by another player pursuing him. Unsurprisingly, the crazed man in pink was quick to try and sue, but considering he ran onto the field willingly and was disrupting the entire country, I find it extremely unlikely that the charges stick. Next up, we journey back to the 2004 Super Bowl between the New England Patriots and the Carolina Panthers, when we saw an intruder try to steal the spotlight during the big game. Even more than the infamous Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake halftime show, which preceded this incident by mere minutes. And luckily, the Danish TV2 crew used their camera from the booth to record this epic hit, because it wasn't even aired on American television, making this one sort of a hidden nugget in the lore of NFL streakers. Yes, streakers, because this intruder let it all hang out there for the entire world to see, only to get dropped by former New England Patriots linebacker Matt Chapman. Yeah, this one is great. I will, however, give the streaker some credit of his own. Despite being completely naked, he was, in some strange way, the most respectful of all these intruders, because he at least made his move during halftime as to not disrupt the flow of the big game, which he actually explained afterwards, saying, "I can't do it during the big game. It has to be before the game is in play. I don't want to interrupt the game. I'm a professional." Professional what? I'm not exactly sure. Moving on to something, well, I guess a little bit more wholesome. And that's the hawk-like pursuit that KC Wolf, the Chiefs mascot, exemplified while trying to track down a fan that took it upon himself to invade the field at Arrowhead Stadium. Okay, I'll admit it, hawk-like might be a stretch. KC Wolf would not necessarily find himself impressing many scouts at the NFL Combine should he ever decide to declare for the draft, but to his credit, he showed the kind of follow-through that you'd want out of any young prospect and did well to play through the whistle. Although, you have to think that the security guards who actually did lay the hit on the intruder were probably none too pleased to feel a grown man, a wolf, come crashing down on their backsides after finally corralling the intruder. At least no one was buck naked during this one. How wholesome. And speaking of wholesome, let's jump to some Christmas Day NFL action that saw another Chiefs game intruded by yet another rogue spectator. This time, unfortunately, KC Wolf was nowhere to be found. Only a lone security guard who put closing speed on display that was honestly pretty impressive. Considering how fast the two of them were running down the field by the end of the interaction, that takedown could not have felt great for the fan who seems to have let the Christmas spirit get the best of him. Luckily for the security guard, he had a chance to catch his breath once he brought the intruder down, as his comrades closed in and helped wrangle up the unwanted visitor. And last but not least, we have a rather interesting one. We head down to Tampa Bay, where unsurprisingly, chaos was breaking out, as it often does in Florida. This time, it's not because people are trying to fire their guns at an incoming hurricane, but rather because of a 10-year-old running down onto the field. The incident took place during a Week 5 matchup between the Bucs and the Atlanta Falcons. And though the young boy put forth an impressive display of speed and agility, juking through a couple of stadium workers that were trying to stop him, that all came to a stop rather quickly when one security guard absolutely squared him up. Now, if you were wondering where the parents were that a child that young got themselves to an NFL game and down onto the field, well, the answer may disappoint you, as they were in the bleachers, seemingly eating up the attention and cracking jokes for clout. Such is life in 2022.
What happened? I was close to, like, it was like, I think it was the 25. Which team? Falcons. They was talking about, go boy, go.
But which do you think was the craziest instance of an NFL intruder getting blown up after they ran onto the field? Was there anyone that we missed? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps it a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.